Hello, everybody. Hey, if you've got background noise, if you'll mute yourself as we get going, you don't have to right now. Hey, Katie.
Well, hey, Jimmy. How are y'all doing?
Wow, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about
You're
yourself?
all technically ready.
I also look like I'm landing airplanes. That's what my coworkers say. So I'm multitasking.
Yes, you could do that. How's things in the big city? How are things down there, Katie, in the big city?
Things are going good.
I heard you guys are doing a lot of outdoor stuff. Is that where Sue's at now?
She is. She's in North Augusta. They had a Pafukas tournament there this weekend.
Oh, good. I had someone called me last week, and somebody else may know this guy. I forgot his name now, but he's running a national event and maybe some kind of finals here soon. Can't even think who it was.
I'm not
Got a
sure.
lot. He does a lot of outdoor events. He knows
Frank
everybody.
McNavy with G Vegas. They're having the National Grass Finals, I believe, in October there.
Yeah, AVP Nationals.
Ah, good. Cool.
Yep, that was it. Julie, did you get your outdoor stuff started?
Not yet. Since I'm going back to teach this year, I've been kind of occupied with that. But once things get started, then we can get started as well.
Trying to pick out the best mask to wear?
Or the one that, yeah, exactly. We've been wearing them all week. Last week it was a little bit difficult, and when I choked on the fibers from one of them and had a coughing fit, I was like, I promise, it's just I'm incompetent as a human right now. But
The one district, I forgot what's Greenwood, 50 or 52? I can't remember. Anyway, the one they give Tracy, she's not using. It was uncomfortable. I hope everybody else is doing well. Thanks for joining on a Sunday night. We still got about 5 minutes. Let some other people get on here. Is somebody on from Crossfire yet? Julie, that email you sent on the question about them getting their T-shirt, did you mail those to them or did they pick them up?
those ones were mailed.
Okay.
Yeah, they. She said that she received them, and she's like, "Who do I give them to?" And I sent her the list. She said, "Okay." So.
Okay. Amber, upstate, did your dad get this?
Yes. Well, I forwarded him everything. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay. I forwarded him everything, but yeah, for some reason he's not getting your email, so I'm just forwarding it all to him.
And use the North Greenville address?
Yeah, let me pull it up. Hold on.
Okay. I've got it.
You've got, but yeah, that's the right. It's gmosley@ngu.edu or something.
Yeah. I'll add them. I'm still working off of last year's database, so I'm trying to get everything uploaded or into Sports
Okay.
Center Correct.
Got it.
Which reminds me, I need to cover with everybody in order to get stuff. Still got people adding, maybe another couple of minutes, everybody. I'll mention if you have background noise, if you'd mute yourself when we start the recording of pause, so we can record it. We got still a few more. Anyway, hey, welcome. There's been a lot, as you guys know, you probably kept up with the news with college football, volleyball, stuff like that. But I've had, seems like one call after another for this whole week. I hosted a national call with all the regions. There's 40 regions in the United States, along with USAV CEO Jamie, and that was Wednesday. Some interesting information came out of that I'm going to discuss here in a minute. We discussed the different states, and literally every scenario that you can think of is what's going on across the United States, from states still being closed to high schools being moved to the spring, to them being moved currently starting, or either starting and just having a very short season. You may or may not know, North Carolina just announced a few days ago they were going from early November to early January, which kind of threw a kink in the big North Carolina club policy. So there's some things going on. Before we get started, I would like for you to put in the chat area, if you just, we'll keep that chat stuff. We may have your name, but we may not have the club. So just put your name in the club, or either whoever is online. So we got kind of an attendance there. Put that in chat. I'd appreciate it. What I do want to do is share with you the recent survey that you guys probably saw. We're trying to do one once a month. We did one in June, did another one. It was late July, no, excuse me, early August. We sent this one out and it's finished up. So here is, let me share the screen so you guys can see this. And, here. All right, so the first one that went out, if you guys can see this, we asked this almost the exact same question. If the club was getting ready to begin in the next 30 days, would you go back and play club, assuming that we've got safety precautions in place? The last one, the first one that was done, the June, we had 75%, 74 and change that said absolutely or probably. The last one, this last few weeks is 85%, which is very positive for you guys that are out there. So that was, I thought was very good, with a 60% saying absolutely and 25 said most probably. Only 1% actually said no. And then the other question comes up. Sorry, I should have let somebody else handle this. This is interesting. I sorted it by what safety precautions would you expect from the club to adhere to. Let me scroll down where you can actually see it. First, 86% said clean the equipment regularly. This is stuff that, and I'll send this out to you so you don't have to make notes. But this is the things that our customers want to or expect from you guys. Sanitizing stations, take temperature upon entry. I think you can buy those temperature things for about 40 or 50 bucks. Again, guys, hey, if you have background noise. If you guys would mute yourself, so I won't have to do that. Social distancing when practical at 57, and then all staff spectators wear masks. Some already are debating whether they'll let parents come in to practices, and I'm sure that's based on whether, one, you can get into a facility, and then two, facility is what's your maximum capacity. So you have to kind of track that. Well, it drops off pretty significantly after that, but we will be sending out some guidelines that we'd like for you to implement on indoor things and also outdoor. Another part was, would you want to know what the club's safety protective plan is? What are they going to do with their practices and facilities? And 63% said yes, with another 26% didn't matter. So I think we have recommended that you guys put that into your information that's going out for the new members and members themselves. This was very important, is before tryouts, do you want to know what the club's refund policy is? This is something that we might want to talk about a little bit. Both ourselves, USAV, and my understanding, not sure if Corey is on. Corey, are you on tonight out there? SAVL both have agreed that we would have a 100% refund policy for tournaments. We've got to talk to host, our individual host, about some of this and see how we're going to work that. We may actually absorb some of that from the region. So, but what we're going to do is because of so many things changing quickly, we could get into, like it happened last year, almost a week or two out from a tournament and the state shuts the tournament. So we will have that policy. And what I do highly recommend is that you create a refund policy for yourselves. The other things that you might want to consider is actually having a base fee and then add tournaments so that you're charging actually per tournament, so you could actually get in. We're going to shorten the deadline down for ourselves so that you could apply. We'd like for you to go ahead and apply, but pay the money a little bit closer to the time so that we can actually plan on the facilities and stuff like that. But there'll be some sharing of ideas as we get a little bit closer to time, but that's something you might want to consider. So anyway, that part of the survey. And then, interesting enough, the tournament attendance I thought was very interesting. I really thought that willing to attend, I'm going to go down to here so that you can actually see it better, willing to attend two-day events was almost 70%. I really didn't think there'd be that many that would be willing to do that. And then willing to stay in a hotel was 66%. And then we asked about modified formats. We're definitely looking at modified formats, probably most likely 14 pools, but with either, definitely the team off will be asked to leave the court area, the one that's completely off, the fourth team. The third team that's the working team, best cases we'll just have the absolute minimum number of people that has to work the event be on the court and the other ones be off away from the court. And we may even go to a where two teams are completely away from the court and just the two teams playing will work with people that are there to officiate, line judge or flip the score or something like that. So we're going to make a decision, and that'll be a lot based on what the rules are at that time. One good piece of information is the region, our region has changed to having members take the official clinic every year. We're going to go to every 2 years with just a refresher after that. So if they've did it last year, they won't have to do it again. And we'll have to work through a few things logistically on that. I think that was the biggest part. We did ask, do you plan to try out with more than one club? 22% had said yes. Half of the people said no. So that's pretty much whoever you had last year, with 23% undecided. I would say well more than half is planning on returning to your club, and maybe a fourth to a third will be planning on doing multiple tryouts. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit here in a minute. This was interesting. We asked, and this is going to be a reality, folks, and we just don't know how bad it'll be. Everybody understands that it's very difficult for even you guys to get in for practices to facilities. That might be a county facility, a school, a rec, a church. I know locally, I've talked to our superintendents, and their answer is no, we're closed to outside groups until further notice, just because they don't want to do any more stuff. And what I would encourage you guys to do, the ones that don't have access to a facility already that you know pretty much know that you can get access to, is you better start checking, because that is a possibility. I'll mention this, and this is, I'm sorry, I got away from this question, but the question was, if you attended tournaments, how far away would you go, be willing to travel in order to attend a tournament? And the purpose of this is that we probably are going to have to get into facilities that are private facilities or either public facilities that are designed for sporting events in order to be able to do a lot of tournaments. And it's possible that some of our hosts who typically have to get 8, 10, 12 different facilities may not be able to. And we may have to either cut back or move those places to certain places that we can get into. So travel is probably going to be something that's a necessity this year, unless it gets better pretty quickly. I think that was it. Yep, that was it on the survey. And I will send that out along with the recording. Again, hey guys, if everybody would mute themselves, we're still getting some background noise. If you don't mind, mute yourself on the side. Any questions concerning the survey itself that you've got that we might could answer for you? Okay. Again, we're going to send a recording of this out, the video, I mean, the meeting we're having and the survey. In the call that we had nationwide, what I want everybody to consider is fall programming. Just about every region that out of the 40 regions are already trying to think outside the box. A lot of them are looking at outdoor programming, beach, sand, grass, something. It's inexpensive. It's able to do it. I noticed even there's a state that's doing a high school outdoor season. They're playing outdoor instead of indoor. So you might want to consider that. I can tell you that at the top level, there's discussions going on to try to work with the YMCAs, with the schools to help with facilities or even programming from the USAV standpoint. But I would encourage you that you might want to contact your rec department, your YMCAs. A lot of them are cutting back on sports or laying people off, and they simply don't have the manpower to handle leagues. So it's something that you might could do, run leagues, get into facilities, do things, use their outdoor facilities if they have, just grass fields to do that. So I'd highly encourage you to consider this in the fall programming. As we all know, South Carolina is planning on having fall volleyball, and that will continue as long as as long as, the state doesn't close us down. So anyway, I'd consider any kind of fall programming and anything that we can do to help, we'll be able to. The only thing that we're asking is don't go head to head with the high schools. Well, the last thing we want to do is get ADs or high schools aggravated at the club sports, trying to go head to head or trying to get kids to say, just play club, don't play high school. That will certainly hurt the entire state if that word gets around. So be careful of doing that. Any questions on this part, on that fall programming part? Okay. Again, you can put some of this stuff in the chat room if you've got questions or anything. Julie can speak up if there's a question there. Here's what we're going to ask clubs to do is we're going to talk about in a little bit a modified tryout format, but at first, we may even get a straw poll on what tournaments that you want to attend. For example, if we've got one in February and it's a host that needs to get 10 facilities, we need to know how many teams approximately would attend that tournament. In other words, you probably will know pretty soon what tournaments that you want to attend and where. So we probably will get a straw poll in the October timeframe, maybe early October, to see where everybody's wanting to go, so that we can figure out, do we have tournaments that we've got problems of getting facilities, and how many teams we can accept, and is there a problem? And then should we go outside and go somewhere else to try to require facilities to accommodate your request of going on that specific date or weekend?
Jimmy, there's a question in the chat from Chris. He says, are there any rules from USAV or South Carolina High School League regarding playing both high school and travel at the same time if the fall programs are allowed? If fall programs continue, there is not a rule in the South Carolina High School League that prohibits a player from playing both. But the high school AD or coach can prohibit that. There's not much they can do other than saying don't do it. But we highly encourage, do not try to have a battle with schools. We've got a good relationship now. We continue to try to help them. They help us. I've had a number of conversations with the administration there. And so I just say, if you do have fall programming, work around a player's schedule. Don't let you be priority over their school, assuming they have it. Now, reality is, as we all know, you see what's going on with college. That's going to have an effect, and quite frankly, one of the higher up administrators said, it's possible that we get into September, had 3 or 4 matches, with schools, and it gets so bad that either individual schools will cancel, regions will cancel, or the state will stop it. So that's a possibility. So what I said last time and what I have heard nationwide is that we all have to be flexible and ready to change and adapt to change as we need to. And it could be on a weekly basis. We're just going to try to stay on top of it. Some of the other, was something else, Julie? Yes, sorry. There's another question from Tina. It says, Dr. Fauci came out and said that temperature checks are not reliable. What are your thoughts on temperature checks?
Well, you saw, they may not be reliable, but you saw what the parents want. Those are your customers. For $40 or $50, or even if you have to have 2 of them, I personally think you should do it. Here's what the legal department told us from USAV at the top level. The more that you can implement from a safety precaution, the less likely that you'll get, if you had a lawsuit, you would show that you've tried everything that you should try. And that's all I say is that if you can do it, put in every safety precaution you can just for that standpoint. I would say that a lot of the colleges, some of you guys may know this better, but a lot of the colleges are postponing simply because of legal reasons. So just, beware. And Julie, just stop me if there's some other ones that come in. The other problem we're going to run into in tournaments is officials. If the college volleyball season goes to the spring and are able to have it, and we're able to have it, then we're going head to head with good officials that'll be calling college and possibly interfering or having a conflict with ours. So best case scenario, we get enough to hold, do a tournament. Worst case scenario is we have to go back years and we may have to officiate ourselves to get through a game or a match or something like that. Just keep that in mind. The other part is about all the regions are trying to do some kind of electronic gate tickets. So we're looking at that. Probably what's kind of leading the way right now is if we have to implement restrictions on attendance, and that probably will be the case, and that usually is based on the maximum attendance that can be inside of a facility, then we would probably filter it all the way down to the team or the club and say, okay, you've got 12 tickets that you can sell for this match for your team, and you guys decide that, sell them, and we'd have to work out the logistics of how that works. We certainly don't want to put any more work on stuff, but it's that versus there are some electronic programs, but it gets a little pricey. Like a $5 ticket, it costs about $1.50 to buy an online ticket. So we'd have to go up on the fees, but that's something we'll probably discuss at our next discussion and let you guys think about it and see what you prefer to do it. All right, that was the challenges concerning region tournaments. The biggest thing I want to emphasize is that we've got a tentative schedule out right now, but we're going to find out from our host who's just going to give us a best guess estimate right now. Can you get enough facilities to hold kind of what you had last year? And if we can't, then we may have to move that tournament to somewhere, assuming we can even get facilities. So again, what I say is flexibility, adapt to change could come later than sooner. But we'll let you know those things as soon as possible. Any questions? Julie, anything out there?
It's not a question, but just a statement from Andrew. It says another problem is the number of college coaches and players who also coach club. If most college balls move to spring, finding qualified club coaches is already challenging and will be more so if club and college volleyball are participating at the same time.
Correct. You're right, Andrew. That's probably the clubs that use the players for coaches is going to be another problem. And I doubt the coach is going to be too flexible with letting them run out and do stuff during season. So adapt, see what you can do. And it's going to be difficult. I'm sure you guys read the news, but at the top level in our discussions through the national office and the national governing bodies, when we're on calls, they have some doctor out of Atlanta, and they're pretty positive about vaccine getting out. Best case scenario by the end of this year. His words were for filtering down to the general populations probably can be in the spring or into the summer of next year, just because of the hierarchy of the most needed will go first, and then it'll filter on down. And then it's a matter of, how many people will actually take the vaccine and what will it do. All right. We've only discussed the need for safety protocols for you guys. I would suggest you go ahead and start working. If you have not, a lot of clubs are only doing some stuff already, and you've implemented things. Would somebody want to share what you're doing now? Somebody out there? I know you're out there.
The Intense Club is after every practice, we Clorox the entire gym floor, the bleachers, the bathrooms. We spray Lysol on all the balls. We hand sanitize between each water break when the girls take a water break. We take their temperature when they come in. We make them directly wash their hands, and then before they leave the gym, they have to wash their hands again. So that's what we're doing.
Thank you, Penny. Anybody else? There's some people that must be shy to talk tonight. Okay. We'll move on. If you want to put it in the chat room, you can put it in there, or share it with me on email, and I'll include it in the information that goes out to everybody else. Will be good. Let's talk about tryout date options. We are looking at a couple of options for a number of reasons, and all I can say is that, again, be considerate that we may have to be flexible. This may even have to change based on what happens with high school, or what happens. There's changes only taking place in North Carolina because of the changes in the high school season. If that filters down, I would just say, if you're running into problems, we'll deal with you on an individual basis and try to adapt to help so that your club's not affected personally from a standpoint of competition. But this is what we're kind of thinking currently. What you got out last week was Plan A, which was our kind of our usual tryout window. Guys, give me just 1 second. I'm sorry. I should had, no, that was somebody else. Never mind. Look, I bet you guys couldn't see that, could you? Because I don't have it on share. Give me just a sec.
While you're pulling it up, Jimmy, John has a question. He said, if we're unable to obtain gym space from either public or private facilities, could we use personal land to host practices or even tryouts? If so, what would need to happen?
Say the last part of it, Julie.
He wants to know, if you can't get something that's a private or public facility, can you use your personal land to host practices or tryouts? If so, what would they need to
do? The short answer from USAV, which we asked that question, was no for personal residence. We certainly think that you should be able to access land, fields out there. But if that's not the case, no, get in touch with me privately and let me see what we can do. Their general answer to the public is no, just because of the ramifications of it being somebody's backyard. All right, going back to tryouts, what we put out was Plan A. We're considering Plan B for the sake of giving more time, since the access to facilities is extremely limited to people that do not have a facility. So what I want you guys to do is I'll send this out in the email that I send out tonight with the other stuff. I'd like for you to consider it, the pros and the cons. And frankly, folks, all the calls that I've been on this week, my mind is about blown up. It's hard for me to look at all the pros and cons. It's just so many moving parts, and so many what ifs, and so many options that could happen or stuff like that. But we talked about this, so I want you to consider it and see what you think, and then send me back feedback on that. Any questions on this part or comments currently? Julie, anything?
Nothing on there, but I'll just say to Paolo, Jimmy already saw your club approval request. He's asking about the question about using personal land, because he's got the outdoor club in Augusta,
Yeah.
and he's his own sandport that he's using. But I thought that you had given him the A-OK for that, so maybe he just needs to.
I think, well, I did, but tell him to get back in touch with me because he didn't mention it was private
So
land.
contact Jimmy.
Yeah, but we'll talk about, tell him I talked to him privately on that. Yeah, not a problem. Okay, let me mention this, which you saw in the survey, 85% of our customers out there, the members, want to see what the refund policy is. Highly encourage you to have that. From the national standpoint, we're pretty adamant to USAV as for national tournaments, we want to know in advance what their refund policy is going to be, national qualifiers, national events, even big tournaments. I would say the same thing before you sent money in to some big event, is you better know what their refund policy is, meaning if it's canceled, how much of the money am I getting back? Is it 100%? Is it 80%? Is it 50%? And one of those statements, we were pretty adamant of saying they need to give us a percentage or an amount, not we'll give you your money back less expenses. That less expenses is too vague. So under the circumstances, I just encourage you to do that. As I said, in South Carolina region events, we're going to commit to 100%, even if the region has to make up some expenses. So we're hoping for the best there. But that's just an FYI, and try to do your own club refund policy that's pretty detailed so that the parents understand that without any vague references. Be pretty adamant about stuff like that. Any questions on that? Membership fees for 2021 will stay the same, even though they've gone up on our side. They're going to be the same. And what has changed is all juniors, all players will begin with a tryout membership that's $15. That $15 is non-refundable, but it is upgradable to a full membership on another $35. When you guys, when they hear from you, and we'll talk about that real quickly, and then I'd say encourage, but required is probably the better word, is our Tuesday meeting that we have Tuesday evening with Sports Engine. Guys, you really got to have somebody on this call so that you understand what's going on. It's not extremely complicated, but it's different. And you need to understand how members join your club, how you get them into your club, how you invite people, how you build rosters, all that stuff. So that's important. But this year, what is new is every player, even if you've got a player that says, I'm joining ABC Club, I'm joining yours, I don't, all I need to know is just, I've got a place. Then they still do the tryout fee and then upgrade once you actually, what will happen with Sports Engine, there's two scenarios. You got people that try out with you, multiple people that try out, that's trying out for a position. You do the same thing you've always done. You send them an invitation, or you tell them verbally, whatever it is, however you tell them that they're on a team is number one. Number two is Sarah Smith, who says, I want to play for you. I'm not trying out for anybody else. And you've got her on a team. So you've got two scenarios. On both scenarios, once you made your offer and once they accept, then you will send them an invitation from Sports Engine or from your club that says you want to associate yourself with your club. And they actually will do that online, which allows us to take her, Sarah Smith, and attach her to your club, and which allows you to put her on the roster. It's a small change. It's Not sure the reasoning behind it, but that's how it's done. So anyway, we'll talk about that Tuesday night. Unpaid members. Let me mention this. Out of the 40 regions in the United States, 18 of these regions basically do not set strict rules for clubs. They pretty much say you're an independent business. Whatever you do is your business. Now that's a pro and a con. The pro is you pretty much can do what you want to do. The con part of it is where for a number of years, we have taken people that have not paid you and sanctioned that person and put them on a suspended list. And most of the time that works and they pay their bills and you get caught up. But that also means if we went to something like that in the future, we wouldn't be able to do that. You'd have to do it on your own, go to Judge Judy or something like that. And then the other regions do something similar to what we're doing now, which is have some structure, some rules for certain things. You notice last year we actually reduced some rules and just put in about a dozen rules that actually have sanctions and some kind of penalty. Most of them have a warning on the first time and then a penalty at second or third. But I would like to hear from you. You can either put it in the chat room or you can send me an email how you feel about that, because that's not something we're going to do this year, but we have looked at it for the last 2 years, and that's something that we may change for a number of reasons. Both our attorney for the region and the national attorney suggest that we do this for a number of reasons. Any questions on that part? Any other questions, Julie, that's come up?
No, sir.
Okay. Just two more quick things for me is parent assistant position that we've had last 2 or 3 years. We will not be doing that this year for a number of reasons, but we're not going to do that. That doesn't mean that you can't do it personally, but we will not be reimbursing the fee on that part. And then just a reminder on Sports Engine, there's 2 things, and we'll send out the directions on this. Sports Engines allows us the option to text and or email you communication, and that's critical from us to you guys. So, but in order to do that, you actually have to go into your Sports Engine account, go to settings, and under Palmetto Volleyball, you have to check both email and phone number. We'll send out the instructions of where to do, it's real simple, but you gotta be able to do that. And then you have to give us access, and Kirsten mentioned this last time we were on a call, to be able to help you with the Sports Engine. So if you have problems with creating rosters or member questions or something like that, we actually have to have your approval to do that. We have to give the same approval to USAV for us. So those few things. But that is really all I wanted to mention, is that the critical part again is highly encourage you to do some kind of fall programming. Most of the reasons behind the other regions doing it is that we don't know whether we're going to have the capability of doing anything 3 weeks from now, or a month from now, or 2 months from now. So, get started, and hopefully that'll help. And that should help, you get acquainted with kids and stuff like that. Just don't go head to head with the schools. Again, reminder, look at the 2 tryout options, provide your feedback on that. If it doesn't matter, tell us in an email to me after I send this stuff out. And the biggest thing is that, as I said, we've got to have flexibility to be able to change on a week's notice. there's not too many people that doesn't think that this is going to happen. And you can see what's happened. You see the schools, they waited so late to make the change, make decisions. And college football, they've waited late and they're still working on stuff. So we're probably going to have to do the last minute stuff. We're going to plan the best we can and put goals out there. But I would encourage you to probably set your fees with base fees and then tournaments maybe as they come up and charge them somehow. That's something that you guys might want to do so you don't have to get into a refund part, because it's possible that we've got, say Cynthia and Jerry down in Columbia, which has to use a lot of facilities. If they can't get into but half of them, and we can't find other facilities, and we'd have to cancel division somewhere, or either we have to move it to somewhere else in the state that we can get into, then you've got to make a decision. And of course, we're going to try to do that as early as possible. My guess is right now, probably 30 days out is the best case scenario that we know that we're pretty safe in being able to make a decision. Hopefully we'll know by facilities and all that stuff. All right. Any questions out there, everybody? That's really the only thing I had that was really important. I appreciate everybody taking time on a Sunday evening. But as I said, things are changing very quickly, and we want to keep you informed so that you guys can make plans.
Real quick, those of you who did not hear Jimmy when he requested that you please put your name and your club name in the chat, please do that so he can have kind of an attendance record for this. Also, Jimmy, in the chat, there's a question from Penny. She wants to know, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, but she said, can more than one number be put in SportsEngine to receive text messages?
It has to be a different member. So they'd have to, I'm not sure that, if she means like one person, can you put in two numbers? I don't think so, but that'd be a question for Tuesday night. Hold on to it and ask at that time. I highly encourage you guys before Tuesday, and I'll send this back out, but there was a bunch of videos I sent everybody about club stuff. Look through that before you get into Tuesday night. I highly encourage the directors to be on this call, but if you've got administrators that are going to help administrate in your club, let them join in too. This is critical because we will start soon, and we probably will not open membership joining until mid-September, because USAV, what's different this year in a membership is, let's say a full membership is $50, $30 is charged by Palmetto, and $20 is charged by USAV. So there's actually two separate transactions that go on that'll hit their members' credit card, but it's just one account. They'll just see, they'll still pay $50, but they'll actually see two different things. But USAV has their own refund policy, and it's 45 days from the date of purchase with some flexibility there. So, that's why some of the reason why we're changing some tryout dates and stuff. But I encourage you to look at those tryout things and all the rules that go with it, like when you can make offers. The signing date is still the same. You can make an offer, you could start early, you can make an offer, but they can wait until the last minute if they want to. But we're going to encourage families to decide early, which will help you guys make decisions. All right, any other questions? Otherwise, I'll let you guys go, and we'll see everybody Tuesday night. Anything else that you see, Julie? Anybody?
Just a couple of good suggestions from experienced people with SportsEngine. Paulo says use the super user account. Angela and somebody else, the Howards, said that yes, you can have more than one number in SportsEngine to receive text messages. So thank you guys for that feedback.
Yes. Yeah. All right, guys. I will keep you posted if any major changes come about before we talk next. Otherwise, thanks everyone for coming online tonight, and we'll see everybody Tuesday evening. remember to watch for the email I send out for some of these facts. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Thanks, Jimmy. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Julie, are you saying in?
I'm still in here. What's up, Paolo?
Oh yeah, so regarding the question earlier, so does that apply to me because I'm operating under an actual LLC for my
What have
club?
you, Paulo, what do you have? A site on your personal property?
Yes, sir. So my backyard is I have a sand volleyball court.
Okay.
That's, yeah.
And you're just running some league or practices or training or something?
So I've had mine for 3 years now, and I've been doing adult leagues and adult tournaments. And last year, I actually, when I was coaching varsity for high school here, Augusta Eagles here, I've had practices at my place. So
And
it
you're
is
an
covered
LLC.
under my personal insurance.
But you got an LLC?
Yes, I do, sir.
Okay,
And
I think you'll
do
be
have a
fine.
business license.
You'll be fine.
Okay, awesome.
Yep.
All right, that was
Be
it.
good.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Julie, I think that's it. I'm gonna shut it down.
Sounds good. I just wanted to make sure that nobody else had anything. Thank you for all you do, Jimmy. I know it's stressful.
Thank you.
Take care.
See you guys.